On this episode of Dietitian Life, Peter puts her arms above her head and makes her look silly. She slept in plaits to make her hair look like this. And we talk about communication and feedback during interviews and how to communicate when you're in a new role. Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Dietitian Life. Today's been a bit of a middle ground week. We had a couple of peaks, now we're plateauing.
Yeah, I feel like there's a big major plateau. Although, on a side note, how cute does my hair look today?
What?
Yeah, because everyone suggested I'm going to get it chopped off, so I'm trying to.
Everyone suggested.
Yeah, I did an instant poll.
Everyone wants her to chop her hair off. Shaved hair.
No.
Does anyone want to vote? Does Tyson get to cut her hair? That would be a good Dietitian Life episode.
No, I'm not touching this. You can do your own till the cows come home.
So today, did interviews for some new roles, both in Victoria. Central Coast was last week, but I guess this week with the interviews, kind of reflecting on them and how we can give you value. Us, when we do interviews, both Peter and I, but also other people interview with us, we try and give feedback mid-interview, which probably some people will be like, why would you do that? And some managers would never do that, and sometimes not even give feedback after an interview. But we try and do it, and it ends up being somewhat of a mentor conversation around how to answer questions.
Because when we don't do it, it's really weird for us. So when we were doing the scholarship interviews and we couldn't provide any feedback, and it would just be cricket moments and moving forward with no comment whatsoever, that was more awkward than what it was if you provide comment middle interview as well. So each to their own, but I think the other aspect would be, if we actually like you as a human, we want you to do really well in the interview, and sometimes it might be a bit of navigating that communication to try and get the answers that we know that you might actually have to say. Or could say and want to say but don't, for whatever reason that might be.
Did you say anything then?
Swear at it.
Yeah, I guess we give feedback based on, we got some clinical questions in there, so then if someone doesn't answer that, how we would think, or we might explain why we asked that question to give them a bit of perspective about what we were looking for. Because a lot of people in interviews just come in and say that rote learned kind of answer.
Which is kind of what I was saying, and you reckon I didn't say anything.
It's just boring as hell. Did you say that?
No.
Yeah, so it's boring as hell and I hate it. We've had interviews where people just use all the buzzwords, and that might work for a hospital position, but I'm not sure if it would. But if it would work in a hospital position, that's about it. I don't know, like using things like, I would adopt client-centered approach, or, when you're asking kind of a general question, just talk about the actual approach rather than telling us what approach you would actually do. So talk about specifically what you would do rather than explain what that is. So don't say you're giving evidence-based advice, just tell us specifically what you would do and we will identify whether or not that's evidence-based, I guess. And the same goes for when it's that demonstrating. They always talk about in hospital selection criteria, it's demonstrating your knowledge, not telling us that you know it. So I guess that's a good little tip. Don't try and use too many buzzwords in an interview.
But also all interviewers will be different.
Yeah.
So
yeah, but then that's what I mean, like for us, for private practice.
Yeah, you would need to gauge how the whole thing's going, and hopefully halfway through you would have gauged the interactions, and maybe the way that we run interviews, it's obvious that it's pretty a chilled space. So hopefully you would, adapt to that.
Build rapport to your
interviewers. Go the same way all the time.
But that being said, like you might be like that, and that's who you are, and that's completely fine as well. But it's just, I guess, being you and not just trying to come up with an answer that you think the interviewer is going to hear. Because regardless, we've probably done enough interviews, whoever's interviewing you to know whether or not you're doing that, and be able to pick that out of a bunch. So just be cautious when you're doing that. Other stuff, so the tech shirts that we have for Dietitian Life, there's just trying to improve some of that stuff, and there's some updates coming supposedly, so just trying to figure out that.
So the Lifers page is going off.
It's going off.
Yeah.
So we've had quite a few work experience opportunities getting listed on the Lifers page.
And so many people jumping on board, which is awesome. Thank you.
So we're going to be hitting up some other kind of private practice and other business owners to join, and then they can post their work experience as well. So it's somewhere where you guys can have access to that. So check it.
There was one posted today, opportunity.
It's already done. It's already gone.
Damn, it has.
It's
Stay
today.
abreast of it.
It's like a week.
Yeah, no,
week. But even then, like it's actually gone already. 2 people have already said yes.
Oh, good.
Other stuff. So poor planning and marketing, I've got written down. What is that? Poor planning and marketing.
I probably have a little bit of an idea around that.
Go.
So I guess when we first start our sites and the alike, obviously just rolling into a new position, that's probably where you were going with it.
Got it.
Yeah.
Go on.
Where were you going to go with it?
Go. Keep talking.
I don't know whether you're trying to throw me into a rabbit hole.
Go.
I think in this instance, my lack of ability to be able to plan and the obvious need to plan is important. So when we're looking at starting a job, a role or a site in private practice or even starting in a medical centre, you need to obviously have a plan about what you think that's going to be like. And that obviously then needs to encompass some marketing strategies around it. We have replicated that over a number of sites for a long time. So I suppose and it's often I assume that other people know, and probably you assume the same. Lesson learned for us this week is that never assume, and always make sure that people within the team are 100% aware of what we know and how we would do something. And that's something that obviously I've learned.
I think they're aware of it. It's just about them replicating what they'd already done previously, or that someone else has done previously that they're aware of. And that's what was most confusing for us, because we felt like these people already knew, but it didn't happen. So like, what's the breakdown here? What was the issue? And some of it was us. Some of it was us. We didn't communicate effectively and just set people up to fail. So that's just
pretty much. But the also is obviously being adaptable to people that you work with. So if, for example, you're starting a new position and you have the support of a manager, you need to speak up and say exactly how you might want to be managed. So that might be that you want to be left to your own regard, or it might be that you need to be in contact with them every day or every week. But also assume that the more contact, the better. And I would go, even though you think you're quite autonomous and you maybe want to demonstrate how good you are in a new role and you want to be really independent, I would make sure that you are asking as many questions, you are staying in contact, because irrespective, you don't know enough, and you need to obviously continue to stay in contact to know that. So I guess as a manager, for anyone that actually looks after, supports other staff, be aware that just because they're demonstrating how independent or able they are still new, they're new in a role, and likely obviously going to be new as a dietitian as well. So over communication is really, really important. And the other is, as a new graduate, don't be afraid to ask questions and don't be afraid to demonstrate that you don't know a lot, because you won't. You'll know enough to obviously get you over the line. That's why you already graduated. But it doesn't show you weakness, it doesn't show you shortfall, and you're going to get there a lot faster if you communicate and if you ask questions moving forward.
Going to be successful faster.
Yeah, 100%. And the number of times I've said that in the last couple of weeks is, if only I had this opportunity and I had someone telling me, well, that was shit, fix that, then I would have got to where I needed to get to a lot faster. It doesn't mean that the way you get there is not going to be good, but it's just trying to obviously make you guys better and efficient, faster and earlier. So this week for me, there's been a lot of communication, a lot of trying to fix all of that communication on my end, because sometimes people might get to a spot where you go, you know what, they're sweet, I don't really need to be talking to them every single day, but then you forget that there always is new stuff. And there's also that space where as you become more comfortable in a role, you think, oh yeah, nah, I've got this, I'm owning this. And then they might suggest or say something that they've done and you're like, what? Why did you do that? And then take a step back, you go, obviously didn't have enough communication around that point. So, and sometimes you can save it, other times you can't, and you're like, right, stuff that one up.
Yeah, it's just like I think if you were the practitioner or someone starting a new role, it's that real fine line between showing that you can do a role and then knowing when you should ask for help. And Peter's not saying every single day for every single thing ask. It's if you're unsure, it's likely that we haven't communicated it or that you should ask the question. And then that's our job, and that's ultimately, not just us, but if you're getting managed by someone, that's their job. If they didn't train you in that aspect or it wasn't enough that you've forgotten, maybe ask that question, but always reflect back on what's already been told, maybe look through emails or online documents or however your business operates to identify whether you can find the answer, but don't spend too long in that it takes weeks for you to find it, and then you should have just asked 2 weeks prior, because then, it's 2 weeks of shit. So ask early, ask often, but make sure that you've reflected on the stuff that you've already been trained on. And if you've just forgotten something, come open with that and say, look, I know you've taught me this, but I've forgotten. Can you help? And then next time, just make sure you don't forget.
It's been a massive learning curve for myself over the last couple of years, and obviously I've managed dietitians more than just recently, but it's just different, and every single dietitian or contract staff member that I've managed are all very different, and obviously then my management style has changed over time, as well as the individuals have dictated some of that as well. So but even those people that have been with me for a while, I'm still learning how to manage and keep an eye on them, because it's that confidence and that comfortable that you get with a position after a good amount of time, that person does need to be challenged. You do need to give them an opportunity to have go, but likely they won't do it well or as good as you would do it, and then have to provide feedback around that to help them grow moving forward. So, and that, for me in private practice, is good. It's really good. So it demonstrates to them as well how many areas, opportunities that they could potentially have, and how many skills they actually are building within just the same role, same position. So, and trying to remind them of that all the time. That's what I like to do as well. That's great. Did you know that you did this? Would you be able to do that, 6 months ago?
Do you reflect on that for yourself?
What? How far I've grown?
Saying, is there things that you're like, oh, I couldn't have done this?
100%. Yeah, all the time.
Peter's just slowly working her way out of the camera.
I know. Actually, I love a twinge in my back, so I was like leaning to try and work that out, and I was disappearing off camera. Yeah, but yeah, 100%. You probably try and remind me of it a little bit more than I do to sit back and go, oh, hey, that's amazing, I've grown. But I have. Yeah, if I didn't, I wouldn't be sitting here. It would be out. Ting. True story.
Yeah, and other stuff, just quickly, negotiating different contracts again, so different clinics. Other things that Peter and I have been working on, new kind of program delivery to a new client base, just testing out the waters there. So that trial started this week. So hopefully leads to something really good that we can replicate everywhere. Also, what?
I've got a bit of media stuff to do this week, which is good.
With who?
So one is with DA, so just being a media spokesperson, because we thought it would be a good idea.
We thought.
So it is collective. And another one is for a magazine Tyson's already been in, so I've got to write some nice words about him and myself and dietitians in general.
About me. Stay tuned on that.
Yes, that's right. I'll be updating you on that.
Yeah, I'm interviewing someone else for Dietitian Life today at 2 o'clock. So someone who's done PhD. You probably would have seen some of the video 2 days before this is released. Someone's done a PhD, wants to challenge us on our question around honours and how we don't think it's worthwhile if you're not going to go into research or in a hospital in a research position or into a uni as a lecturer. So we'll just see what she says.
Bear in mind, we've hired people that have honours.
Yeah.
And it doesn't change the fact that...
But that doesn't they've got an honours, we need to get that one in.
Oh, 100%, 100%. So it'd be interesting to see this person's view on it and why they think it's valuable.
And she's currently lecturing at Griffith Uni on the Gold Coast. So, someone a bit different. And we haven't had someone who's done a PhD or is lecturing at a uni. So we'll see how we go. Meanwhile, we're going to lecture at a uni.
Yeah, I was like, stay tuned, because we're actually going to be there.
We're going to be at QUT on September 17th. Jesus. I need to cut that little bit out and just post that.
I've already lectured. I've already lectured at uni. So I've done 2 presentations at my alma mater in Wagga.
Wagga. We're in the big smoke now.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
All right. Well, that's it. If you've got any questions, as usual, hit us up. Dietitian Life Lifers page on Facebook. If you're watching this, you get access. So hit us up.
Jump on it.
Cool. See you.
Bye.